Hello everyone, this is John from RPGs and More, and in tonight's episode I have something a little special for you. I just received something in the mail, right here, and this is from Monty Cook Games. I wonder what it could be. I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to be certain until I open it up. And I thought, if this is what I think it is, it could be a fun video. So let's do a bit of an unboxing, shall we? Aha! It is not nearly as smooth as it should normally be. I am looking very strange on camera, having a hard time pulling this thing open when it keeps breaking on me. Ha 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 ha! So funny. And is it? Is it? Oh! Oh! Ah! Claim the sky. All right, my Kickstarter copy has arrived. This arrived fast. I swear that I filled out, the thing came in this past week, and I put in my information as soon as I could for them to send me my Kickstarter copy, and it's already here. This is really fast. Okay. First, let's look at the cover. Cool, very evocative. I'm going to compare it to, where is it? Books. Oh, it's all the way over there. I was going to compare it to my copy of Godforsaken, but it's too far away to grab at the moment. Let's just go ahead and with this right now. It looks great. It looks cool. Oh, the only flaw is there's a bit of a... The corner got a little messed up. That's really not that big of a deal. Honestly, it's going to happen on my shelf anyway. Eventually, the corners just get messed up. That happened. I'm sure that it happened in shipping because of the box they pack these things in, and it going medium mail. You could complain about it. I'm just noting it because it's happened every time that I've bought a book from Monty Cook Games, and from a lot of other sellers at Amazon, it happens too. So, not worth worrying about. Anyway, here's the back cover. Get a load. And I'm loving the art. That's the one thing I absolutely always consistently like about Monty Cook Games material, is the art is always interesting. I don't always like it, but it's always interesting. It's got a lot of really fun elements to it, a lot of really neat stuff. So, okay, here we go. First opening the book, and this is the image we've got. We've got a guy in a cape, holding back, or is that a gal? Can't tell. Could be either one. Anyway, person in a cape holding back a subway, probably trying to prevent it from crashing off the edge of a broken track. Hopefully, all the people inside are safe and are going to be safe and intact. I guess it's not a subway. It looks more like kind of a train. Maybe both. Can't tell. Anyway, it's being stopped. Cool. We've got to claim the sky and a little larger image of that image is on the back cover. Look at that. Whew. Lots of light effects. It's very nice. All right. Gaming with superheroes. Chapter 1, building a superhero character. And then Chapter 2, character options. Chapter 3, superpower rules. Chapter 4, a world with powers. Chapter 5, comic book storytelling. Well, that's a good one to have because not all of us read a lot of comic books, and so kind of getting some tips on how to time your stories and how to space them to make them kind of fall in line with what comic books do is kind of a neat idea. I'll certainly be reading that one. I read regular books. I generally don't read comic books that much, and never have, aside from some old Conan the Barbarian ones a long time ago. But anyway. Superhero stories, cool. Superhero bases, secret bases, always important. Heroes, villains, and other NPCs. And then ciphers and artifacts. Well, it's not going to be a cipher system game if you don't talk about ciphers, right? Yeah. Part 2 is Boundless. I think Boundless is going to be Boundless is probably the different... or the setting, because each one of these supplement books has an For the first half is going to be general rules on how to play in the genre that this book talks about. The second half of the book is going to be taking those general rules and putting them to work in creating a setting. So it shows you a setting. It shows you what a superhero setting could look like. So that's probably what Boundless is here. So that's pretty neat. I like how they do it that way too, because I'm one of those people that if I just read it, it doesn't often make a lot of sense to me. It's very rare that I find something that reading through it once and I'm just like, oh, that's how it works. That's why when those things happen, I get really excited because like I can understand it. Wow. Which is part of why I really kind of got to love Cypher, because the more I read Cypher, the more I was like, I actually get this. I get it. Without having to reread the rules and cross-reference things and feel like I'm back in a college class organizing my notes for the test. Like this is great. All right, so and there's an extra character. There's a character sheet. That's good. Okay, gaming with superheroes. That's definitely an important chapter to have. I'm not going to go through the whole thing like chapter by chapter, page by page. That would get boring and the video would be long. I just want to skim through real quick and show you what I feel like the highlights are. I actually haven't, I had the PDF from the Kickstarter a while ago. I have not gone through and read everything because I generally, I don't like reading PDFs. I know that sounds really strange and counterintuitive because as a visually impaired person, having a book as a PDF allows me to enlarge it. And that's true, and I do like doing that. But at the same time, I don't know, it's like if it's a short little thing, I'll read it, not a problem. But if the book tops over 100 pages, I just don't like reading PDFs. Now, Kindle books, I can read those all day long. Like if your book is a Kindle where I can change the size of the text and always have it black screen with white text. That's how I read, and I'm reading it like I read a chapter book. Then I'm usually like it's the reverse. I'll read that all the time. It's great. There's a lot of books that are read on Kindle that I will never purchase a physical book of because they're neat, they're fun, but they're not good enough to get a space on the shelf, so to speak. So anyway, I know there's other people that have read the PDF to Claim the Sky already, and they'll know a lot more about how the rules work, and they can explain everything. I'm not that person. I'm looking at this for the first time now. I will probably look at the PDF later to try to grok a few things after having read stuff. Anyway, that's a long explanation that you guys really didn't need. Sorry about that. Digressions, yay! But that's what we're here for, right? All right. The one thing I will note is this present in the entire book? It looks like it kind of is. There is a slight background image on every page. I don't know if you can see that here. It's color variations. It looks kind of like a very light explosion that's behind all the words. It's light enough that it's not a major distraction, but it's definitely not something like if I was to give a critique of this right now, I'd say don't do that. Come on, I know that you guys are having fun and trying to be like cool and all this stuff, and that also helps. The other reason why you want to do that is because when there's a background image, it eats up a lot of ink, and then people don't want to pirate your stuff because printing it off is going to be expensive, and they get fuzzy about that. And if that's your reasoning, I kind of get it, but at the same time, for those of us who have a harder time reading things, either you're getting up in the years or you're like me and you've just always been this way. Background images behind the text that you want me to read generally slow down my reading. And I don't really like that. I like to be able to quickly glance at a paragraph and be able to read what I want to read. So that's here again. That's the one negative thing I can say so far. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. Oh, red text. Ooh, red. red text. You know, I get it. I like it. Personally, it doesn't bother me, but I know other people that it does. Oof. Oof, guys. Oof. Anyway. The font they're using is different. It's much more of a thin. The letters are thin and slightly taller. So I guess they're trying to get more words on the page by using a slightly taller font. So it looks bigger, but it's slightly thinner. You know, probably would work just fine. I'll have to spend more time actually reading it. But oh, look at that. Okay, this is cool. Look at that picture. Look at that. That is cool art right there. That is cool art. I like it. Oh gosh, that guy looks like a knight. The guy on the right kind of makes me think of a knight a little bit. With the gold and the red cape and the silver on the sleeves. Oh, that's kind of cool. Probably a villain. Knowing my luck, I'd probably just be like, oh, that's the coolest guy ever. And he's the villain. Anyway, that's how it usually goes for me. Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay. No, there's lots of text, lots of good stuff. The art is cool, but it's not taking over. That's nice. Oh, it's just neat stuff. All right, cool. That's cool. I don't want to show this because it's actually got like a lot of text on it, and it is a couple of superheroes fighting a monster that appears to be some kind of super kraken. Not quite sure. It looks really cool, so that'd be something to look forward to when you buy the book. Character options section. Nice, nice, nice. Lots of people firing laser beams from their hands. Oh yes. Oh yes indeed. Oh, I like it. Flying in wings. Yay. Okay. Oh, we're just gonna keep superpowered rules. I wanna be a superhero. I wanna be feminine Darth Vader. Not really. But it's just someone in a cape with a mask on their face, and we're like, Darth Vader! And it's not Darth Vader. It has nothing to do with Darth Vader. Probably closer to Iron Man. Still cool looking. I like it. I could totally go on a tangent about Darth Vader and Star Wars right now. I'm really struggling not to. Just FYI. Might do it in the comments. Some neat stuff. Comic book storytelling. I'm going to definitely spend some time with this chapter because, you know, how to do team-ups, handling secret identities, working on the team itself. The nemesis. Everyone's got to have a nemesis. If you're doing a superhero game and you haven't figured out how to create a nemesis for your player characters, oh boy. You know, but you want to... No, I haven't read this yet. But my personal interpretation of this is if you want to create a nemesis, first, one, don't make the nemesis before your session 0. Don't come up with the nemesis first. You want your heroes, your players, to create their characters first. And you see how those characters get created. So in the session 0, when they're making their characters, that's when you're writing down notes about like what their nemesis, either of the individuals or of the group as a whole, is going to look like. That's when you start doing that. I'm sure that this is probably going to give better advice than just this, but that's really the heart. Because especially with superheroes, I imagine, but I think this is true with any fantasy game, if you're creating the villain before you know who the heroes are, then you kind of putting the cart before the horse. In order to have a true villain, you have to have a true hero first, and because the two of them feed off of each other, especially in good literature, and classic old literature as well. We're talking like Tale of the Chimera. You know, you need to have something that can be a proper foil for your hero, and if you're creating your villain in kind of a shadow box, or in a vacuum, so to speak. You're creating this villain in a vacuum. He's like, oh, this is a cool idea I've got. And then the heroes create something, and they create something that is, completely opposite of what you planned for when you made your villain. That's not a nemesis. That's not going to be someone who truly gets the anger out of your players or of their characters, because it has nothing to do with them. So that's something that I like seeing. That's why I like seeing it. I like seeing advice about these things, because I think about these things, and I'm sure that other people do too. But having something written down is helpful for remembering stuff, because sometimes, the old braid pan, you just kind of forget things after a while. Or you get excited and you really get into it, and you're like, hey, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that thing, and you go down your checklist, and then you realize, I forgot like 2 or 3 checks on my checklist, and oh, good, how can I go back and fix it? And you gotta go back and fix it, but then you're in the middle of the game session, and you can't fix it in the middle of the game session. So, kind of reading these things and then creating stuff as you're kind of reading, taking notes, and being an active participant in the reading process, which is a lot easier when you have a physical book than when you're doing stuff on the computer. In my opinion, it's a lot easier. That's why I like books, because they're easier for active reading. I'm one of those people that every once in a while I actually write notes in the margin of the book. If it's my own book and I have no intention of ever reselling it or giving it to another person, I will do that. Anyway, moving on. Digressions! Let's see. Changing characters, having morphing characters, plot developments. Nice. Excuse me. Setting up themes. Themes are always good. You got to have coherent themes. That's why Batman and Superman are vastly different in terms of comic and feel. The feel of the stories and the way things, even though technically they exist in the same universe, the themes and the stories that Batman is great for are very different than the ones that Superman is great for. And that's why people love to do like Batman versus Superman and who would win and on all this stuff. We even got a movie all about that. I mean, oh my gosh, how many nerds like myself went to watch that? I went to watch it. And we're just like geeking out over this whole thing, especially when like, Batman's wearing this powered armor to go and fight Superman and going, oh, that's so cool. And at the same time, you're going, wow, this movie is so bad. Anyway, it was just that kind. It's one of those movies I love to hate. But it was good, and I'm glad I watched it. So like the hate is with love, I guess, if that makes any sense at all. Like I'll talk bad about the movie, but I will never like tell people not to see it, because it's just awesome. It's like those B movies that you watch because you're like, I just want to watch someone get their face punched in. And some movies are great for that. I watched that movie. The best part about that movie was Wonder Woman. She was fantastic. And I know that sounds really funny because you're watching Batman versus Superman. The best part of it is Wonder Woman, but it really was for me. Like that was like my favorite part of the film. Anyway, but I'm digressing again. Sorry. All right, Claim the Sky. Back to Monty Cook game stuff. Here's another thing. So this is interesting. This is a gradient pattern behind the words. Now, you would think that I'd sit here and say this is bad. Actually, I don't mind this. And there's a reason why. I don't mind this because, 1, it's a light color. 2, it is solid and consistent for the most part. There is a gradient there, but the gradient is consistent across the page. There's no wavy pattern. There's no like weird things to break up stuff. It is, and so the words are not camouflaged. When you have a pattern behind it, it kind of acts like the razzle-dazzle camouflage pattern that we used to put on our ships back in the early days of, I think, World War I and part of World War II, when they tried to camouflage ships so that people couldn't recognize them using binoculars and stuff. And they came with this pattern called razzle-dazzle. And what it did is it broke up the shapes. Well, that kind of does that to the words, because all these different shapes and colors behind the words tend to break up the words, so it's harder to recognize them. But when you have a consistent gradient, like, again, shown here, this actually works. This is a way to do it. If you really want to have that color behind the pages, just do this. This is great. So much easier to read. And it also it adds that kind of contrast. It gives this part of the book great character. So I really thought I think that's pretty cool. For anyone who's watching this and taking notes, they're like, hey, this is what works according to the blind guy. There's your positive note right there. Anyway, superhero bases. Oh, this cool little diagram of a base, kind of showing how stuff's put together. That's neat. I like that. It's kind of fun. I like when supplements do that sort of thing. Like they say, this is how you build it, and then this is one that's been built, and they show that. Most people do that. Most people will actually present a map, a structure of whatever it is that they're telling you can build. I like it when they give you the rules to build something, and then they've got 3 different things that they built using those rules, and they outline what they did to get each structure. And you can see how versatile the building rules can be. If you get a random dungeon generator, and then because sometimes you get random dungeon generators and they show you one example of a dungeon. Well, that's cool and that's great. Actually, that helps a lot. Please do that. But if you can do the random dungeon generator and then show me 3 different dungeons that are all vastly different, that were all created with the random dungeon generator, and I can actually follow along with how they're created, that's brilliant. Please do more of that. And that's one way to get your page count up, to make me pay more for your book and be happy about it. If that's what you're creating, is a random something generator, do that. Just a simple recommendation from me. Oh, speaking of, ta-da! It's another picture of another base, and it's vastly different. Cool. So this is a more advanced base, and this is all little things telling you oh yeah, this is the there's the armory. It points to a room. That's the armory. There's the command center. Oh, cool. There's a bunch of stuff in here. That's fun. That's really fun. See, there was 2 different types. There was the simple one, and there was a big grandiose one that's like a space station. That's cool. And then we got villains. Baron Shadow. Oh, God. Look at Baron Shadow. Oh, it's so over the top. Oh, my God. The 12-year-old in me is going, yee! All right. This is cool. Heroes, villains, and then NPCs. All right. And then Black Star. And Black Star is this woman in this skin tight, black uniform. She's got her hair is electric blue and glowing, flowing out behind her. She looks like she's this weird alien spy coming through, and she's got stars glowing on her little black uniform, and that's cool. Not gonna lie, that's cool. Get a load of that. Okay. Anyway, geeking out a little bit, just a lot. Oh my gosh, there's some cool stuff in here. The Dirge. Oh, it's a plate mail wearing Pied Piper kind of villain looking guy. Oh, that's fun. I'll have fun with that one. All right, let's see. Oh, The Gentleman. Now, I'm a Critical Role fan, so when I hear The Gentleman, I'm thinking of a very specific character. However, this one provides an alternate view of someone called The Gentleman. Look at that. Okay, is that guy going to be a villain or a friend or an advisor? I don't know. That's interesting. Okay, we got Ghost Walk and this woman who's kind of really... Oh, look at this art. See, this is what I'm talking about with the art for Cypher System stuff. The art is amazing. It's so evocative and fun. And when it's all full color like this, you can really kind of dig into the images of what they're showing, because they illustrate so well what they're talking about. Excuse me. I don't want to go through all of them, because that'd be boring. And some of them, I look at the name and I'm going, I can't pronounce that. Which is okay, because I'm sure that you can. Just read whatever, and I'm sure that there's a few of those you'll look at that and say, yeah, that's what John couldn't pronounce. Fair. All right. Let's see. Natalie Majestic. Oh, it's part. Oh, the Majestic family. So here's an example of a family of superheroes that I wonder where they got that idea from. Huh, a family of superheroes that work together. So anyway, oh gosh, so many cool things going on here. All right, I'm threatening to go and digress again, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. Let's see. There's also stuff about ciphers and artifacts. Only 2 pages about ciphers and artifacts. That's interesting. I wonder why. Power boost ciphers. So it just talks about how to. Okay, so it's various things that boost ciphers that boost stuff. Efficacy boost, stunt boost. Okay, all right. Artifacts. Darkest book. A large metal-bound book fashioned by the primordial entity that created evil magic. Is this a superhero thing, or is this like high fantasy? Because oh gosh, that just makes me think of a really great high fantasy plot. Then again, if you're doing high fantasy, a la D&D, I've been with many conversations, people that talk about 5th edition D&D being like playing superheroes in a dungeon setting or a fantasy setting. And I think they're right. I agree. And I've said the same thing myself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Let me make that very clear. There's nothing wrong with playing 5th edition like it's dungeon superheroes. In fact, actually, I think you play it better when you accept that the characters are basically superheroes and just go with that assumption. Because I think things start making more sense at that point. If you're trying to play D&D and your D&D 5th edition especially, and your goal is to have a more like a gritty experience, you're not playing it wrong necessarily, but you're not playing to the system's strengths. That's not the system's strengths. And so this is kind of neat because in this book by Monte Cook for Cypher System, they're having a lot of stuff here. I'm betting that I can take most of these options and put them into a science fiction or fantasy setting, and I'm gonna get some pretty high octane, high action, medieval superhero stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. Medieval, like Superman in King Arthur's court kind of coolness level here. You just call him Lancelot, and everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." All right, Boundless. Boundless is actually not half of the book like I was originally thinking it was. It's only about a third of the book, but it's got it. Okay, so I'm looking at it. There's some cool art here. There's some neat stuff. Superhero survey. What's that? Oh, okay. It's talking about news coverage. How the news covers the player characters. So like if your player characters get caught by the newsies or by the journalists doing what they do, how do you want to cover that? Like, do you want to do like the tabloid thing, or do you want to do like a full on stuff? There's a little section about that. How to do that. I like that. I think that's good because not all DMs. I mean, one time a long time ago, I ran a game where I was kind of the DM of the game. But at the same time, I created a character that I wanted to play within the game because I wanted to basically like fourth wall the heck out of myself. And I created the sentient AI that ran a complex, and the sentient AI had cameras everywhere, including mobile cameras that would follow the player characters around. And this complex is kind of like a reality TV show that they were all involved in. And so in order to make sure that they couldn't go anywhere and not be under the cameras for the TV show, it created these things. I called them spider bots. And basically, they were like a cell phone that had spider legs, and they could crawl anywhere. They could go through the vents. They could get under and around doors. They were thin like a cell phone, but then they had those little spindly legs that would come out and they're crawling around everywhere. And the idea being that that's what the computer used to keep track of all the contestants. And then the moment that they did something, almost instantaneously, the computer would generate a tabloid-style news article that would be sent out, or like basically in modern, ideas, it'd be like the computer tweeted, basically, so and so just did such and such in the 17th corridor, haha, and then all the people watching the show, aka the players, would get to see what's going on, and then they'd have to figure out like what's real, because they couldn't always see what the players and their characters were doing. They would just see the article that the computer posted about it, and the computers deliberately just like doing the most salacious thing, the most clickbaity thing in modern language that it did. And so that was one way that I handled that in a game where like news articles were going to be generated quickly. And you could probably do the same thing here, is just making sure that you want to do the most clickbaity thing possible. So never ever write have your newspaper people, especially if they're not on the hero's side, never have them write something that is just the facts. Always have them make take them to the nth degree, and have the like, because a Borak, so and so rescued a child off the bridge, like, that's great, and they're the hero, yay. But if you want to have a more involved story, then be like, well, superhero action endangers child. Why? How? Like, what happened to make this rescue necessary, and why should we care, or like why should we trust these masked vigilantes, or some just dig into it and totally misconstrue everything, because that's kind of what some reporters do. I'm not digging on reporters. I'm just saying, like, some reporters, especially the ones for the tabloids, tend to invent a lot of stuff in order to get you to buy the article. So you should do that with your players. And it will frustrate the heck out of them, but hopefully in a good way. Oh, here's more of this stuff. Oh, this is cool. This is fun. Oh, and there's even comic book sections towards the end to show you how things work out. Oh, that's cool. More creatures, and setting up of the kind of climax there for that little campaign. And then we come to the end. And here's the neat part. And I'm actually going to carefully remove this. There's a map. Every one of these setting books that I've purchased from Monte Cook has a map included in it. And these maps are awesome. They're amazing. And they're also stuck in there with little tabs of rubber cement type stuff that usually come off pretty easily once you start messing with them. But I like to get them off as quickly as possible, because I find over time they just damage the book. So here's the back cover of the book. Again, art. Wow. So much cool art, and ways you can just interpret things and figure out what it means, and what you want it to mean, what you don't want it to mean. Okay, but let's look at that map, shall we? Ooh. Okay. Gently folding this out. All right. Let me make sure that... Oh, I had it upside down. I'm sorry. All right. Look at this. This is that map I showed you earlier of the big base, except now it's so big you can actually easily read it. And it got all the little labels. And then on the other side, if you were like, I don't need a map of a big base, John, why would you show me this? You got a nice little... If you want to showcase that how much you love Monte Cook games and their cover art, you've got a poster of their cover art right there. So that's cool. And that is Claim The Sky. Superhero gaming with the Cypher system. And that is my unboxing of it and quick overview. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your time and your efforts. And if you enjoyed me going over this book, and you enjoy me kind of doing these unboxings and quickly looking through things without really I haven't gone in depth about it, and you like to be to me to show that to you, then let me know. Leave a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment saying, yeah, this is the stuff that I'm here for. This is what I like. And I'd appreciate knowing that, because if that's true, then I'll do more of it. If you'd rather I hold off and talk about it once I've actually read it and used it and stuff like that, and can give you more of an actual recommendation like I've done with some other stuff, instead of just showing, hey, cool thing, just let me know that as well. I would appreciate that feedback. I'm still searching for what my comfort level is with this channel, and what I enjoy doing, what I don't enjoy doing. I'm kind of enjoying the solo playing, but at the same time, it's definitely leading me a bit astray as far as comfort level is. I'm going a bit beyond my comfort level when I'm doing some of the solo playing. So but I enjoy it, and I want to keep doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it in a way that's comfortable for me and enjoyable for you, the viewer. So I'd appreciate a feedback on that as well. But that's not what... Anyway, I'm digressing again. I do this all the time. I hope you enjoy the digressions. If you like the digressions, let me know. If you don't like the digressions, John, make a script and stick to it. You jerk, you're wasting my time. You could let me that too. You can let me know that as well. I'll take that feedback. I don't know if I'll ever make a script, but I might try harder not to digress. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by, and peace be with you always. Bye-bye now.